So Noel Deasy has asked me to come out and have a chat with a Cork legend. How do you feel about that title, a Cork legend?
You know, now legends are easier, aren't they? But I suppose you get a title, and people saying because Cork have won All Ireland in a number of 20 years or whatever it is. The longer you don't win it, the more of a legend you become.
Exactly.
I'd like to be off that legend. Had the new legends come on,
Yeah, it would be nice.
It would be nice. So hopefully, the shoots there this year now. So after last weekend, the Cork Limerick game. So
Yeah,
hopefully there's hope springs eternal for him. You know.
Yeah.
When we came into Cork, we moved to Wilton Gardens there, just off the Wilton Road, and then when I got married, actually my first house was on the north side, above in Parklands, and I married a north side woman, and from an Piercing woman. So
We ever tempted to go up around there? The Piercings.
Well, the lads asked me to go to the Piercing. My brother-in-law was chairman, Bill, and he was very involved in the Piercing. But I suppose
Sorry.
a savage loves his native shore, you know.
Yeah.
And I always had my father been involved and been a member for years, and I just didn't feel that it was. I didn't have the. I
was only ball off with you there with that question.
I know, but
I
I
met
was.
someone the other day, and they said, he said he was very young and he used to go to St. Michael's, and then he went to one of the others or something.
Yeah.
They moved, and
Yeah.
it's always been held over him.
Yeah.
You know that he moved from
Moved
one
one
club to the other,
another,
but
yeah.
you know what? There's only ever a problem with
Yeah.
moving clubs if you're good.
That's right.
They know what you if you're no
No
good.
good, yeah.
What
So-
parish are you in? Drawing circles around the maps and all of this.
So that was it. So we moved back out here to Summerstone then, and lived there for 26 years. And so about 4 years ago then, when I was, I have 2 kids in Australia and 2 kids married here and 7 grandchildren, and so the house was too big for us. So I bought a house up here by the loch, and tidier house, and I built a bungalow actually. So I was delighted with it. We were above in St. Joseph's Park there, and it was a lovely spot.
So you could be here 2 or 3 times a week, I'm assuming.
Oh, you could, yeah. We could.
it's
We
an
walk
ideal
around,
place.
and tonight you can come down the evening there, and it's quieter, and just and I bring the grandchildren over to the park there and things like that. So it's great.
So, a West Cork man, a Bishopstown man,
Yes.
educated by the brothers up in the north side, Johnny,
Priests. But anyway.
the priests up in Farna.
Yeah.
So you got a good education for the hurling anyway.
Yes,
I
indeed.
don't know about the rest of it, like.
The rest of it was questionable.
But it seems like you got a nice little mix there out in
Yeah.
Bishopstown for a bit of culture,
Yeah.
West Cork for a bit of grace, and the north side
Yeah.
for the hurling.
And I suppose to add into that mix, then the father was a Kerryman.
Right.
My mother was a Newcestown woman, so like there was what would you say, a good mix there between Cork, Kerry, and then coming into the city as a country boy back in the day. You know, it was very unusual for us to come into the city. You're coming in from country, you know, small village, and you come into the city and there's a lot of things happening there. But you know, it's just like everything. You adapt and you drive on, and got involved in the local club, and father got involved in it, so we all got involved in it, and so that's where it took off from there. And
I'm assuming it would have been street leagues at the start.
street leagues here, we played actually up here in the Loch Street leagues as well.
Yeah.
Jimmy Barry Murphy's father, John, used to bring us over here, even though they were bars, but we used to still play. We were Bishopstown, but we used to play in the Loch Parish leagues, and it was always there was always a great rivalry, and it was great to play in the Loch, you know.
How is that?
Oh yeah. And
Would all the clubs have been involved with the Loch Parish kind of street leagues then? Would the Bars and Loch Rovers and Bishopstown, or would it just been an actual street thing?
I suppose we were kind of because Jimmy's dad was involved involved in the bars, and we were all from around Milton Gardens, Laburnum Park, and we just was put in his team from there, and Jan, and so we just went on with him then, and we played for a couple of years, but there used to be great crowds here on a Sunday morning, and I always remember the ball would go into the lock then, and everything would stop. They'd have to retrieve it and blah de blah. So and there was no quarter after given around that time, even though we were only 12 or 13. So because the streets and different things and the rivalry and blah de blah. So it was great. It was great. Nice memories.
Yeah. So around that time you were going to secondary school outside in Spreadnave.
I'd have been national school in Spreadnave that time, and kind of went on then to secondary school in Spreadnave, and I was there. I did the junior cert there. Not very well, but
same as myself.
And went from there then, because there was a history of all my brothers going to Farnferris, so I suppose it was always on the cards that we would go. Some people said to us to make a priest out of me, but they were sadly mistaken there. But anyway,
and were they a good team? Did you get into the team straight away when you went to secondaries up to the north side? Or
I did. Yeah, I did. I was. I played in Spreadnave, and I was kind of getting handy at it and blah de blah. So when I went up to Farnborough, then I went to another level, and Harty Cup was huge in Cork and Munster at the time. So so we won 2 Harty Cups and an All-Ireland final, and in 73, 74. So which was and a brother of mine had won in 70, 72. So there was a tradition there, and a lot of the guys in Farnborough had traditions like that.
They probably had you pegged as soon as you went in the door. They said, "Oh, that's his brother there."
Yeah, well, the family would have been known to the people up in Farnborough as well, So, so it would have happened that way. Yeah, there would have been a connection.
So, do you have a Harty Cup medal?
I have 2.
You have 2?
I have 2 and an All-Ireland medal, yeah.
Amazing.
An All-Ireland Colleges medal, yeah.
I went to Closh to Crease Street. I didn't have the privilege of being on the team, but that's for another day.
That's for another day.
I focused on other elements, but it was always a massive thing when we got to go out of school. It really united the school to get onto the bus, to go out to Buttervint for a game or wherever.
Yeah, Charlie,
and there was great excitement around the school for that. So it must have been like you were, And I remember we had a couple of players in our class, and they were like stars for the week
it would have been for the couple of days. As the fella said, coming up to the match, and when you boarded in Farnborough, you probably got a bit better fed than the other guys, So. But there was, because Farnborough was a small school in the sense that there was only a couple of hundred students in it, and so there was a kind of a self-reliance in us to to keep the tradition going. And
you weren't climbing over the wall and going down to the shop?
We did. We climbed over the wall many a time, and into town maybe the odd night. But anyway.
You focused
on other things, but then that was temporary. But we came back and we focused, and I know we had a good innings there, and Farnborough was a good place. I was a great memories of it,
Even saying that now, even though I wasn't involved really with hurling football in school, some of my fondest memories are of going to matches. And even doing the indoor hurling in primary school to try to get the skills together down below in Skull Creek Street. It was very, very enjoyable that one of the brothers would train us and give us a little bit, and to pick up the skills. I know I've friends who have kids and young girls now who are getting involved in Blackrock and stuff like that. And the skill set for hurling is amazing in comparison to any game. And to be sitting in a bar the other night when soccer was on television on one screen and hurling was on the other and rugby was on the other, and I was lucky enough to support 3 teams in the 3 different games. So it was fantastic. But trying to watch any other game after watching hurling, Johnny, is just it's difficult.
It's difficult, it is difficult because the speed of it firstly, the skill of it secondly, and then the intensity of it, I suppose, as well, And I played soccer myself with Wilton and different things. But when you see soccer now, the way people go down and the way the things, and you see the lads, and these guys are getting 150 grand a week, and the guy down below in Limerick is, if he loses, getting abused. If he wins, he's a hero for the day. But so it's hard to compare, but like there is no comparison with it really. As a field sport, one of the fastest in the world, and and people, you can see there last Sunday, the guys can make the ball talk now, even comparable with our day, the speed of it. And it was just savage skill.
That is something I did want to say to you, because I do have an interest in it, and I read a little article again about it last week.
Yeah.
The size and the weight, especially of the slitter, has kind of changed the game, and a lot of people are saying it's too light.
Yeah.
Everybody I've had a discussion with it about over the last few weeks or few days has said it's too light if a guy is scoring, if cutting, like whatever, about cutting the ball in from
the line, sideline,
the numbers have gone up dramatically, especially from that legend up in Galway. But we won't talk too much about him today. But like obviously there's amazing skill in it, but do you find it has become too light, or?
Well, now I suppose it may be a small bit too light when a guy is scoring from 80 yards. But it's a huge achievement to score from 80 yards too.
Anyway.
You know what I mean? Anyway, now being lighter things, but I think what it does, it keeps the game flowing. The scoring is all about scoring, and that's what makes hurling great. Every 30 seconds or every 2 minutes you can have a score, and you can have a goal, you can have a point, you can have a scramble, you can have this. So I don't take any huge. I don't think it's making it any worse or any better, but I think it's just making it more entertaining, really. Good. So I don't see any problem with it.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So
cool. We won't be getting onto Cummins or own.
No, more luck to the Cummins. Billy Cummins.
Yeah, I saw the article about how it was a lack of slitters.
Yes, that's
made them go into the business and like shoemakers and this, that, and the other. But anyway, that's I suppose for another day. But it is an interesting article. My cousin Nathan Wall is a referee.
That's
and he's involved,
Nathan, good
he's
referee
involved
too.
With Ballincollig now, but he was a Carrigaline lineman, and so there is a bit of I suppose, a slight family element there, and an interest in it.
And which is, and in fairness to referees, they're often, as a lot of time they only get abused, but they're so important in all games. Because they create discipline and they do and it's not an easy thing to do, but and a lot of people get great enjoyment out of it, and it's good to see young fellas coming through and becoming referees.
Well, we've seen the issues with soccer over the last year with the lack of referees and actually holding off, but luckily there doesn't seem to be much of an issue with that in the GAA.
I'd say
the respect is still there, and I think the GAA has certainly learned lessons from areas that haven't worked.
Yes,
with other sports maybe, and things that have worked as well.
Well, I suppose,
maybe with rugby and maybe with other sports.
I think, to be fair, the rugby has been a huge, I think the discipline in rugby is fantastic. I think a lot of even more of that can be brought into GAA,
Yeah, the professionalism.
Not even the professionalism, but just the discipline. If you're told it's free against you, you just walk away. Yeah. I don't want to go the other way to, when a free goes against a guy for Liverpool or everything, there's 8 of them around the referee. It's too much. I just don't, but now that's the way sport has evolved in different codes, so that's the way you go. But the code in hurling isn't too bad. I think it's a physical game and they have to keep it physical too, to a certain degree. Yeah. Not to be over the top, but
I'm going to ask you a few kind of quick questions, along the lines of, favourite opponent to play against. Well, I don't know if a favourite opponent is a good question, but who was the toughest opponent that you ever played against?
I suppose there was a few. You'd have Tony Dorn out of Wexford. You'd have Joe McKenna out of Limerick. You'd have different fellas out of Galway, Frank Burke. So most fellas at inter-county level in our era were tough, strong, kind of big guys, and you had to be able to mix it with them, and you had to be able to mind yourself, and you had, so but Tony Dorn now to me was a very good hurler, very honest hurler, and great respect for him,
And it must have been, because you have all-star medals as well, you were on the all-star team, that must have been a great achievement outside of, Cork were dominant at the time and winning All-Irelands and stuff like that. Yeah. But to get on the All-Stars and to be there with your other peers from other counties must have been a massive privilege and a great leveler as well, to be able to sit down with a fella and have a chat and maybe a meal at the awards or whatever.
Yes, yeah. Well, it was. It was always, I won 5 All-Irelands, I won All-Star, so played in 7. But, it was always a great ambition to get it. But like an All-Star an All-Ireland is what you're playing for. Yeah. The All-Star is the extra. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's the bonus, a lovely bonus to have. And, I'd be slagging fellas, I should have got maybe 1 or 2 more, but like Tony Sull, or man of the match and things like that. I got man of the match in 86, and we used to have a bit of banter, Tony Sull and myself, because Tony got it in 84. And a lot of people thought I should have got it. I still do, Sully. But,
you're not bitter anyway. You're like the Murphys, you're not bitter.
No. Tony and myself were great buddies, and so we'd always have banter over that.
As you said, though, it's ultimately a team game, you know. It is you'll forego the All-Star for the team to get an All-Ireland, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And at that time, the team was full of characters, you know.
We had great characters at the time. Unfortunately, one of them died there a couple of weeks ago, Sean O'Leary, and who was a great character in his own right, and a great hurler in his own right as well. And we had Ray Cummins, Charlie McCarthy, Brian Murphy, Turner Scotsman, and you had you had several more, Martin Doherty, Jimmy Barry Murphy, of course, and John Fenton. So you could name the whole lot of them. Were kind of, as a young fellow coming in from Bishopstown, from a junior club where I came, it was a huge honour to play with all these guys, not being from a senior club,
Getting the call for Cork, when did that come about? Was it a minor situation?
Well, I was in the minors then in 70. I got on the minor team in 73, and we were beaten in the Munster Championship in 73. We won the All-Ireland in 74, and we won a Football Ireland in 74 as well, so I won 2 All-Irelands in 74. I won 3 actually, because Farna won that All-Ireland, so we won 3 All-Irelands in the 1 year, which was
it was a good year for you.
It was a good year for me. So, and it developed from there then, so I got on the under-21 team in 75 and 76, and I won the Senior All-Ireland in 76, and the under-21 All-Ireland in 76. And so we got on then, we won the All-Ireland 73 in a row, 76, 78, and then,
it's just a natural progression from minor all the way up.
Yeah, so like as a young fella, 20 I was winning All-Ireland, and I suppose when you're 20, you next thing all of a sudden you have 3 All-Irelands, you'll be saying, Jesus, this is simple. And but then you're brought back to reality. We were beaten 70, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. We were beaten in the 2 All-Ireland finals, 82 and 83 by Kilkenny. So, and then it came along the centenary in 84, and we came back again and we won it, which was great.
This is Damien Martin taking the puck out. It could be the last puck out of the game. It's 3:15 to 1:12. John Crowley, Pat Hartnett, the last hurrah for the Cork men as Pat sends it over from 65 metres from his own end line.
Yeah, we won the Centenary Cup and the Centenary. Beaten in 85 again by Galway in the semi-final, and then won 86. And I played in 87, and Tipperary beat us in 87, their first time winning it in 16 years, but they beat us in Killarney. Yeah. So, and that was my last game in Killarney. I broke my nose, I got 27 stitches, so I thought it was time to go at that stage.
Yeah.
But I just one of those things that happened,
Yeah.
But I should have worn a helmet. Helmets are only coming in.
Yeah.
But
thank God they came in, really.
Yeah. Well,
But in fairness, you wouldn't really notice.
No.
You don't look like an amateur boxer or anything, Just meet these fellas when you go out to Lanzarote the odd time, and you kind of go, he looks like a London gangster. No, he played minor. No, you got away with it.
They got away with it. I got away with it. You got away with it. Bits and pieces. As the wife said, it improved the nose in actual fact. Yeah. But anyway, it was a bit
yeah. And did you play on with your club for a while?
I did. I played on for a couple of years then with the club, so I retired then and probably played about 32, 33 kind of kids came along and we had kids and we had 4 kids, so they came along with 4 kids and within 5 years because we just had the twins. So we had a busy.
Just leave it up by the front door, like.
Just leave it by the hurling by the front door.
Did you find it hard letting it go when you played it at a high standard for so long? Do you know? Did you find it hard to kind of go?
Well, I suppose I didn't leave it go because I played with the club. Then I got involved with the club. Then, you know, so I was still involved all the way up to this year in different guises with Cork. Selected with Cork in '99 with Jimmy Barry again, and when Jimmy went back in 13, I went back again with him, and we got to the All-Ireland final. We were beaten by Clare in that after a replay. So I've been involved for a lot of times, but you know, every dog is his day, you know, and you let the next generation come and more luck to them. As I say, I can't crib. I had made great friends out of it and had a good innings out of it. And you know, so we were in America back in the day in the 70s 5 or 6 times, and we had a good crack, and you know.
Oh, that was the thing at the time. If you won something, you got an old holiday.
You got an old break out of it. That's
where
what
did you go in America?
What happened that time was the All Stars used to play the All Ireland winners. Okay. So like, so we played we'd go to 5 cities. It was so all where the Irish were: Chicago, Boston, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco.
Jeez, must have been some honour.
It was great. Yeah, we was go for about a month, and so like there was.
And work was okay with that then.
In fairness, the brewery were brilliant to me that time, you know. Yeah. You know, and so we had great crack. I met great friends we stayed with families then as well, you know. Yeah. So and then there was matches, big matches, you know. So the games then were against the All-Stars, so, you know.
And were they competitive?
Oh, yeah, they were,
You were on holiday for a while and you had to take it easy.
No. There was a bit of both, Shane, really. But I suppose they were competitive because, you know, you didn't want to be losing to a Galway fella that you were marking, or this fella or that fella. So there was always competitiveness in it, you know.
And also for the crowd.
And for the crowd as well. In fairness, the people were good to keep us, and you know. And then there was a couple of grudges as well to be settled, you know, from the All Ireland series.
And would you have been all travelling together then, the All Stars with the
Cork the thing, so we got to know all the lads then as well, you know, which was great, because I suppose that's one thing with matches, you don't probably meet up with fellas as much as you should, you know, from the opposition, you know. And it's nice to meet up with a fella that you played against for 5 or 6 years. As guys I played against, I never met him. You know, I met him there now because you're going up to 25 years and 30 years and 40 years and that type of thing above in Croke Park. But it's important, and it's one thing maybe that doesn't happen enough, is that we don't meet guys.
I suppose that's the thing as well. Then it keeps it. You can see it in the rugby.
Yes.
With the Irish lads and the Welsh lads getting on quite well because of the Lions tours and stuff like that. That unity, and it kind of keeps that sledging kind of element out of it then, because they kind of everybody knows each other a little bit better then.
Well, that's it, and you're you know what this guy has gone through, the same as you, to get where he is, and you know, no, that doesn't stop you from taking him on in the day and things like that, but it gives you just probably a better respect for him, you know.
Yeah, and with fellas going to college now, being more, I suppose now it's a bit more obvious, it happens a bit more often now that lads from Limerick and Clare are going to college.
They all know each other,
there's lads from Cork going to UL and something like that.
Exactly, so they all know each other to a certain degree. But, you know, it's just like everything. Everyone has to get up. That's what every guy has to get up for work on a Monday morning. They're all still have to go to a job Monday, you know. So, like, there is that, you know, so it's glad that a lot of the scudging has gone out of it to a certain degree. No, still tough, but every fella has to make a living, you know.
Yeah, you have to stand up for yourself.
You have to stand up for yourself as well, you know. So, so it's great,
I do workshops in schools about
yeah,
mental health with lads, and I heard a great story about, I don't know if it's Henry Shefflin or DJ Carey, but the old, country lads going around the side of the house of the bungalow, the gable end, and hitting the slither off the side of the house, and getting your skill level up to a certain point on your own. And he said, I can't quite remember which one of them it was, but he was a handy hurler anyway, whoever it was, you'll have to trust me on that one, that he said he had dashing on the side of the house, so no matter what way he'd hit the ball, the ball would come back in a different way, and he said it made him a better hurler. And Graham Souness, the soccer player, I read his biography there recently, said something very similar. He had a chain link fence out at the back of the house, and I thought it was a clever analogy for whatever you put out in life, it is about what you get back. And how you deal with these things. You were very lucky to play for Cork, I'm sure. And you've had great opportunities.
Exactly, to come out of it as well. But just to go back to that, like every guy that played hurling with Cork or at any senior level would have done the exact same. We'd have all belted the ball against the wall. We'd have taken the hurley. That time you'd take the hurley down to the shop, you'd forget the message.
There's a solitary thing about getting the skill up on your own.
That's right, And
like you have to have it, like the 10,000 hours, that young fella that's out at the back of the house hitting the ball off the wall or down in the village or wherever they are. Like it's a very, you have to get those skills on your own. As many games as you can have if you're not putting the time in, I assume. It's like a fellow who's playing snooker unless he's going down to the club.
You're not going to be at the level, like playing out in the back with your brothers and busting the back window and the kitchen window on the Ireland side, having the tea and things like that,
And it's the one thing I love when I go around the country, just to gauge the area I'm in. I was in North Kerry now recently, and you see the lads in North Kerry with the hurleys coming down through the village, and it's a great thing to see, and I love when I see it in Cork, and you do see it in different areas, but Kilkenny at lunchtime every kid has a hurley in town, whether it's in the middle of town or not.
Well, the school is Cairns is in the middle of town, so they're all in there, and they're and it's, and that's why they have that great teams going, and they had a great run there, and now they're slowed down a bit at the minute, but they're not gone far, I
always felt, because there's kids passing now as well, and buggies and stuff today, that in Norway and Sweden, when somebody has a kid, they get a box with a parcel, which is the crib. And they get, a Swedish blanket, or they get this, that, or the other. Like, I think if we did something similar and gave everybody a tin whistle and gave them a hurley and a little slither, the little soft hurley on a football, because, I think hurling more so because I think it's linked to our culture. It is part of the Celts. The Scots have their own version of it as well. I really do think the more that it can be introduced into schools, the better. To pick up the skills,
it's a fair point, because I think once, I'd agree with what you're saying, a lot of it there is, but like sport anyway is such a development for kids. Maybe no matter what guys, if it's snooker, tiddlywinks or anything, but I think it's just like once kids are involved in sport, and I remember talking to guys there who were developing kids and things, kids who were going through a rough time, that kids who are involved in sport have a better chance maybe of not going down the wrong road.
You have to find your own tribe.
You have to find your own tribe to a certain degree.
And I was lucky that way as well. I did the street leagues out in Nemo when I was very young, and then we went to Ballyfihan. I suppose I was just kind of a nervous young fella, and I wouldn't have found my way that way, but I had the acting, so I suppose each to their own, really.
But and exactly, and but you did it, and you enjoyed it while you were doing it, and then you developed something else, and you developed the acting, and you did okay.
I think, to be honest with you, it was good because I met so many characters down in Ballyfihan that I had to kind of go. They would all say I was very quiet. They probably say I was a crap footballer and an hurler as well, but it was good to meet so many different characters.
But that's life, isn't it?
Yeah,
the more of them you meet.
Come here, tell me about Murphy Stout, or Heineken. No, is it not? A Heineken brewery, anyway. Is this kind of the part of Cork? How we all heard the stories of lads getting jobs in banks and this, that and the other.
No,
that's because your profile would be up for playing with Cork.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
like, as in,
but like,
it's good.
Yeah.
To see.
So I started, when I went into Murphy's in 1980, it wasn't a great time to be going in because the brewery was on its knees, really. Yeah. Things weren't great. And Heineken came in then in I think 81. Yeah. And they bought the brewery for £1 and bought
they
the debts
really turned it around.
And so they turned the whole thing around. So, and I was lucky I was there at that time and developed, got into sales, and I did 20 years in sales, and then I got into the corporate affairs side of it and started dealing with the trade bodies and different things, So it was, I did 31 years there, 31 great years, and as I always said, I reared the family out of it, and they were very good to me down through the years. I have nothing but great respect for them,
Heineken have been really interested in the sports with the rugby and even Murphy's back in the day with the golf.
With the golf, and the Irish Open, and you had the Champions League, and went to a couple of games over and into Milan, so different. So they had a great and always interested in sport, but they were always interested in developing the people as well. So, send you on courses to do this, that, and the other. And so it was, and it was, I suppose, the brewing business was a great business at the time. Heineken came in, we were developing that. We were going around to pubs. I was going into pub. Trying to get fellas to drink, trying to get the fellas to know you and have a few pints, and people might say it's the wrong thing to be doing now, but that's the way it was. That's the way we were brought up, and we used to have a few pints every kind of. Not every day, but a lot
just
of
to
days.
make sure quality
checking and exactly.
Sure,
exactly. And promoting at night then.
Yeah. So you'll sort us out for an old session out in the Killing in.
No, we can do that. We can do that.
I have to go out and try some of the new. Well, we'll see.
Exactly.
Noel Deasy, how did you come across Noel Deasy?
Well, I suppose in 2011 then, I've known Noel for a lot of years, and we used to lunch together above in the Black Man. Declan Farmer, myself, and Noel and Ray and a couple of other people, and we got in lunching there for a long time. Anytime we'd go to lunch, we'd go up to the Black Man. Bob was a good friend of ours, Lord of Mercy now in Maureen, and so we got Noel, and then in 11 there was a redundancy package came in the brewery, and I availed of that, and I was thinking, what would I do and this and that. So Noel said, look, would you come down and sell a few cars for a couple of months, and we'll see how it goes for 6 months, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we'll walk away. So 7 years later,
And did you enjoy it?
I did. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It was a completely different thing from the brewery. And I made good friends by doing that. 2 great friends still, and I still recommend people to go around to DC's, and I'm paying for my car now, not like you're getting a free one. But
well, you can't give it to a hurler or a footballer all the time. So,
but so I know, and it was one of the reasons I went. I remember talking to Noel, and Noel, he managed in business 40 odd years now, and in fairness, but his reputation is solid, and he's and the lads still, even though Noel is pulled back from Jackie and Ray and them. And even they brought in a dubbed in James.
He hides it well, though, doesn't he?
Hides it well, yeah. So, and you have, and it was a solid company, and it was a solid product. People think now Skoda straight away. And they have the full range, the electric, the 7-seaters, the SUVs, the whole lot, And good service there, and so, it worked well, and I never had any complaints or any change in the breweries or in DC's. And maybe no, because I should have sold more of them, but anyway. Look,
but you seem like a people person, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I've just only met you half an hour ago. But it seems like a job that you would have been made for, really. Do you know what I mean?
But I enjoy people, and look, you get what you put into it as well, you get out of what you put into it.